It was great. I was very excited to step back into Tom's boots and revisit Green Hills again. The first film was a lot of fun, but it was uncharted territory for all of us, right? We were still figuring out what story we were going to tell, what he's going to look like, and and the movie was released in March, I think, end of February, early March, and it was one of the last films in theaters before the pandemic hit. And it was a big success, and so coming back for a second one is always more fun because you're less nervous about whether or not people are going to like it. So we get to have a little more fun in front of the camera, which ultimately the fans get to enjoy as well. So, but to play Tom again was always a fun one. He's like one of the characters that's more like who I am in real life, in that I'm a father of 3, and this sort of buddy relationship that Tom had with Sonic the first time around has now evolved into more of a father-son relationship in the second film, which is nice that Tom has taken on this sort of father figure for Sonic, and he gets to feel welcomed into this family and everything that comes along with that, which sometimes are things that he doesn't want to hear about. Rules, right? Boundaries. And I get to guide Sonic, right? I get to teach him about the things that my father taught me, right? And you get to kind of pass that down. It's a nice sort of familial thing that they get to share together. So it's exciting, It's like I get to take some of my things I learned as being a father in real life and incorporate them into this role. The power bumps. No, I think, first of all, Tika's fantastic, and she just always she steps on set and she warms up the entire set, because with her just big smile, she's always laughing. You can hear her laughing, a mile away. She's has got this amazing capacity to enjoy, and I think that they have something really special in that they can trust each other, they feel safe with one another, and they can laugh with each other, and it's not, nothing's, no one's gonna get their feelings hurt. I think there's a moment in the movie where she makes a kind of a comment about a hot guy or something, and I'm like, control yourself. So there's no real threat there. But I think they're a great power couple because Maddie understands Tom's strengths and his weaknesses. And I think that she comes in, and when Tom starts to fly off the handle, she's like, all right, you sit down, let's chat, let's talk this out. So they complement each other really well in that they respect each other and they see each other's strengths and weaknesses, and they're still there for each other in this sort of soft place for each other to land. And I think that's a great thing to have in a relationship. And they both love him, right? They both want to do the right thing for each other. But they want to do right by him, but they also want to be, they admit that they're kind of learning along the way as well. Tom and Sonic's relationship has grown in a way that in the first film, it was more of a buddy comedy, right? It was 2 guys on a road trip and eating chili dogs and making fart jokes and being pals, and that evolved into surprisingly, I think, for Tom, into a sort of father-son relationship, and because Tom is now seeing that Sonic is becoming a teenager, and he's doing everything that teenagers do. It's like push the boundaries and sneak out at night, and he's sneaking out and trying to save the world, and maybe sometimes doing that a bit recklessly. And so Tom and Maddie have to come in and say, hey, we can't. you gotta have limits, and you can't go looking for trouble. There's gonna be a time where your powers are needed, but you gotta let that come to you. And enjoy being a kid. You are growing up. There's things you don't understand yet. And I'm not saying that righteously. I'm saying it as a father who cares about you and just wants you to understand that, there's certain things, there's reasons why you can't do certain things when you're young, and you have to wait till you're older. And I think that's Tom kind of finding his footing as a parent for the first time too, right? This is like, he's a newly minted father, essentially, and to a superhero, right? To this like blue alien hedgehog. Where's the manual for that? So it's nice. It's like, I think the perfect relationship between a child and a parent is one where they both respect each other and they can both learn from each other. And that's what I think that Tom and Sonic have. Well, I'd be a fool if I didn't say Hawaii. Yeah, it did. Everything just kind of got multiplied times 1,000 this time around. I mean, the action sequences are crazier, and they span, you know, these adventures that he goes on. He's traveling the world, this kid. But for me, you know, we kind of say adios at the beginning of the movie and head off for a wedding in Hawaii, which is different than Vancouver during the winter. So I'd be lying if I said I didn't enjoy that. So it was nice to, boy, be on a sandy beach in Hawaii and shooting a movie. Like, doesn't really, if you complain about that, you have a problem. But that was cool, and to bring, you know, all these new characters in from the video game, and I think that, you know, this movie takes everything from the first film, and like I said, just multiplies it, and the scope has increased, and just the scale of the set pieces and these crazy action sequences. It's you got elements of it that are like Indiana Jones, and some of it like a giant Marvel movie. So I think the fans are going to dig it, and they'll be excited to see what we got in store for them next time around. That was great. I mean, that was like a bucket list thing, right? I get to punch Jim Carrey a couple of times in the first movie, but actually just, you know, share these really funny scenes with him. And he's a very generous actor. We sit there and talk about the scene, and I remember on the first film, I came up with an idea for a line, and he loved it, and it was like the best feeling in the world, because he comes in with really specific ideas about what he wants to do, and so it's great. I mean, he's a hero of mine. He's a comedy legend, and to be up there on the screen with him is I don't know, like pretty special thing. I don't get starstruck much, but I definitely do when he steps on set. That's a tough one, boy. Oh boy, because I love a gadget, but I would have to stick with Sonic speed. I think, you know, the strength. I don't know if what would I use that for? I don't know. The speed would get me from point A to point B a lot quicker, which I think is one of we still haven't figured out how to teleport yet, which would be nice. If I could avoid ever going to an airport ever again, it would be nice. So if I got Sonic super speed, that'd be nice. Well, you said it. I mean, this is an iconic, beloved character, and the fans are, you know, they want it done right, and they want to love going to see the movie. And there have been adaptations from video games before that haven't really worked out. So we were acutely aware of that, and we wanted to get the design right. And they're very vocal, and I would be too. And I want nothing more than for them to be happy, but also introduce this character to people who didn't even know who Sonic was. The movie should be for everyone. It should be for kids and adults alike, and people who know the Sonic universe and who aren't familiar with it at all. So I'm very happy that the fans are as jazzed as they are about seeing the second one and every adventure that we have on tap for them. Right now, let's see, it's March. Thinking weather. Where would I go? South of France. Sounds kind of nice right now. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with that. My go-to donut order. Oh boy. I think a dozen Krispy Kremes sounds like pretty good, right? Just your standard old classic glazed. Hard to beat that. Can't get too fancy with certain things. Peanut butter, don't get fancy with it. Light switches, just keep it a switch. And donuts, the more basic the better.